So today we are going to look at how to configure uh, Informatica Power Center to read unstructured data and make it structured, as in reading data from XML sources or JSON. So typically, let me tell you details regarding unstructured data, why we call it unstructured and stuff. So when we say structure, it will have a proper, as in a row column level format things, we'll call it as a structured thing. So in case of unstructured, so typically I have this example. So this is my XML. Typical XML will have an so column name, value, and the closing tag of it. So there are two types of things. So usually what happens is, so we need to understand the definition of XML XSD. So this is data of it, but there will be an XSD also, XML schema definition corresponding to any XML data. So which will speak about the metadata, or what is mandatory, what is optional, what is the length of it, what is the data type. So those all typically will be present in XML. Uh, those all will be present in XSD, XML schema definition. So so let me try to open an XML schema definition. So do we have it here? Anything? XSD? I don't see. Yeah, there we go. Let me try to open with some Notepad++. So if we see here, so there are two types of data. So I am not interested in customer. We have orders data. So if we see the XML, so this is orders XML. So this is orders hierarchy. So if I close that, so this is one hierarchy. So in orders, we have order ID, customer ID. The customer will order some order. So if so order will be corresponding to the customer who have ordered, and then the company, contact information, delivery information, type of payment, and then payment delivery options, again order delivery options, and then finally product related information, product code and product description. This is the actual data for a particular order. So let's see the definition, how it actually looks like. So in this case, order is my parent. So we have a column element order ID. The restriction, it should not be, it should be of string data type. If it is something like date, it will not accept. It can be null, it can be null, maximum length is 20. So there are certain things called required and optional. So if something is not mandatory, so we have something called required and optional. So we can specify. So this is kind of a simple structure, but we can have a complex type. There is the main intention of complex type is if it is going to repeat, we will have it under complex type. So in this case, we see product type 20, product description 500, order type again it is string, and then 50. Okay, let me see if I have any other data type. I think mostly it is string only. Yeah, okay. Customer ID integer. Since it is a numeric, it like we like the definition did not contain any length of it. So, but then when it is a string, we have clearly specified what length it can possibly hold. So sequence means order. When we are providing a sequence, if you see there is something called sequence. Sequence means it should be in that order only, which means there should not be any jumbling. Order ID should come first before customer ID. If I don't specify sequence, it can come in any order. When I am specifying sequence, these are should come in the same order. So that is sequence. Complex type is so which is nothing but a specified section, and you can, if it is if it needs to be repeated or something, So it is nothing but organizing how the data should look like. So every element nothing but a column, the name of the column, and then whether it can have a null value. So usually what happens is two things. When you have a null value, two ways of representing is we may have an empty like a, directly a closing tag. So when you see directly a closing tag, which means there is no data, which is a nullable. So don't expect opening tag, closing tag, and then no information. Just a closing tag is nothing but it does not have any data. So there are two ways of representing null. So when there is no data, we may not have the tag itself. That is one form of representing. Another form of representing is just the closing tag of it. Closing tag of it means there is no data for that attribute or element. So this is with respect to the brief description or details with regards to XML. So in my use case, I have around 100 files which are sent by customer, and we have a LST file. LST file, typically what LST file means, it will have the full qualified paths where exactly the file is present. Fully qualified means complete path. So how are we going to configure that? We'll see. So first of all, let's try to define the mapping which can read the data and then store it in a structured format. Structured format instead of this XML format. So you can ask me, okay, why the data has to be a single? Why can't it be multiple orders in a same XML file? So XMLs are usually heavy. So how many documents? So these are called XML documents. But then how will you restrict as in this many orders and stuff? So usually, so when we typically whatever scenarios I have seen, so this sort of information will be a separate file. So at times, yeah, we can get. So if it is a specific thing, we can have a nested things also, like address, typically current address. Within address, we can have current address, and then we can have permanent address, something like that. But if you are able to configure, if we are able to provide the source definition, then we should be able to read such data also. So XML wise, just that we need to make sure we have a proper XSD corresponding to the data what we are reading. So that should suffice. So since I am reading XML data in the sources, import from XML definition. So this is how I am going to specify. But in this XSD, there are two types of information, customer as well as order, but I am okay. I'll try to import both of them. So there are two types of things here. So one is entity and another is hierarchy. So entity means, so here it will show entity and hierarchical relationships. Entity means every block is an entity and it's like an ER representation. Hierarchy means instead of segregating them, so it will be as in classified, organized in a hierarchy order. Again, we have, if we choose hierarchy, we'll have a normalized and denormalized option. So normalized means it is kind of properly segregated. Denormalized means everything in a single thing. So all attributes, many to many relationships, all elements are expressed in only one thing. So let's suppose in the current thing, everything in a single format. So that is called denormalized. Normalized means, let's suppose you have address will be separate, and then customer will be separate, orders will be separate. And entity relationships means when you have different entities that will be separated. So I'll show you. Let's suppose I am trying to actually import the entity thing. I am renaming it as order because I am processing only orders. I will set a definition. So if we see the XML, whatever got imported has got customer also in the top. But I am not interested in customer. I want to process only orders data. Customer is going to send me only orders. So in that case, I need to edit the XML definition. Right click on the source definition and then click on edit XML definition. There it will show the different entities, whatever are available within the corresponding XML schema definition. So we have orders X1 and X0 is customer. If I am not interested in the specific entity, I can delete it. I can delete it from the XML view. So right now we are not interested in customer. So I am deleting the XML view. So yeah, it will be deleted. So now, right now we have only the XML view only for orders. So let's suppose there may be another requirement. Your XSD is modified. So I can update the definitions here. I need to just select and then here I can update the definitions corresponding as in, so here it is string. I can update the length. So we can update the length. So those all things are possible. So we just need to select the corresponding column and then see since it is 50, I can change that. But data type that has to come with the XML schema definition only. Length we can alter as an increase or decrease. Yeah. So this is what, but it is recommended to have the XML XSD properly created. So XSDs are usually shared by the customer only along with the XML data. So I'm saving the definition. These are called XML views. So yeah, perfect. So it got saved successfully. So we see that customer information is now removed from the list. So we have only orders. Okay, so I'll create a map since I am reading XML data, XML orders. Now I need to drag that XML definition. It will be stored under XML file. I'm dragging the source definition to the mapping designer. So one primary requirement, as I was saying, so the heart or core part of processing unstructured and especially XML is XSD is the heart of it. If XSD is wrong, then we will have a lot of troubles. So we need to make sure SSD is properly formed and proper format as per the standards and data. Let's suppose if a field is specified as mandatory, and if the data does not have the value corresponding to that, so what happens is those kind of data will be rejected or it will lead to failures also. So the best thing is we need to make sure the form data is at least data is conforming to the XSD or XSD is according to the data whatever is provided. So we got all the columns now. So what we need to do is, yeah, so if we have any transformation, we can transform it. If there are no transformations, then we can output it. So so customer orders, okay, I have something. Do I have any target? No. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll just drag and drop this definition into target and I'll just try to change it to a flat file. Let's see what happens. Relational target, yes, relational target. Perfect. It got changed to relational target. But then I don't want it to be Oracle. I want it to be a flat file. I don't want to store it in database. I want to store it in flat file. Perfect. Flat file. And I don't want this primary key. Okay, it is kind of representing the column. It got imported the names of it as in we got the proper name column lengths, but then yeah, we have to depend on the XSD again for the column names. I'm just going to place them. So once we update the column names, the structure of the flat file will look like this. I'll just rename that to orders. So if you want to update Again, still order is of not flat file and just going to change it to flat file. So we can specify the delimiters and stuff. So delimiters and stuff. So yeah, let me try to bring in that orders target. If we don't have any transformation logic, we can directly navigate it, as in we can directly link it. So in case we have any transformation logic, we have to apply those transformation logics. So I'm using the auto link feature to link the to link between source and target. So here, so xf x1 need to be mapped to this one. Okay, anyways, it was not happening properly. Let me try to do it manually. Order ID, product code. Yeah, perfect. We got the mapping done. Now the mapping is valid. So so the intention is reading an XML file and storing it flattening the data. We call it flattening the data. So the map XML orders is a session what I'm going to create. So now let's try to understand where exactly. So this is a source qualifier, XML source qualifier. So there is something called validate only if DTT or schema is present. So we can validate the source definition. So that is something we can do. So there is a reset and restart thing is there. So this is for XPK. Whatever primary key is there, if you want to reset that, or so those things, actually the sequence number, regarding the sequence number, these are there. Treat empty content as null. Let's suppose if something is not specified, so that will be treated as null. In our case, mostly that is already available, so that is fine. So data is not there in, so yeah, it is actually there in PM source file directory, but then the list file I need to specify. And here the source is not a direct file, it is indirect file. As in, we are having a file which is having the details of the files having the complete data. So this is a LST file or listing file which has the details of the files which are having the details regarding actual data. So that is my source definition. So here, yeah, we need the output field name. So that is what I'm going to do. So in the header options, output field name. So let it get stored in target directory, but my output will be orders.csv. So that is my the file name what I want to generate. So that, let's save it. Let me try to run this and see what happens. So we have got monitor to see the results. Okay, it read 101 records and then it stored in a single file. So let's see. So usually if you try to open, so this is kind of every file has its own information. So what we did is we were trying to read all the files and then store it into a single file so that it will be easier for validation and stuff. Yeah, there we go. So this is, we flattened the complete data. So previously, before flattening, when we read, the XML is an unstructured data. So this is not in a proper structure. So probably, yeah, semi-structure also we can call unstructured or semi-structured. So when we actually loaded, so the data became structured as an flattened. So this is one way of doing it. So XML has got direct transformations which we can make use of, but then we say in case of semi-structured, we can also expect something like JSON format. JSON means JavaScript object notation, when we have XML, what is the purpose of JSON is JSON does not have the data repeated. So let me try to open some JSON data sample file. Yeah, sample JSON. So this is a JSON data. Let me try to open this in one notepad first. So this is a sample JSON file. So here if you see, we have a key is nothing but a column name, colon value, key colon value. So this way we are reducing the number of occurrences of the column name. So that's how actually we are trying to reduce the file size. In case of XML, extensible markup language, it is going to have a repetition of column name, as in when the column started and when the column ended, and it also has the codes, as in the angular brackets and stuff. So the main intention of JavaScript object notation is to decrease the size of the file. But then we don't have, this is a semi-structured, we don't have any proper transformation to read. So one typical scenario what we can use is we can use either Python or Java to read XMLs. But then, so Python is kind of very easy compared to Java. Python has its own inbuilt tools, inbuilt packages. So we'll see. So what we need to do is, in order to integrate Python to Informatica, two things we need to do. One is install Python in the server, Informatica server. We need not install in the client machine. So make sure the Python is installed in Informatica server. And the second thing is our environment variable path environment variable should have the Python home path. So when we have that in system path environment variable, what happens is in case of server, when we go to Tomcat, in case of Informatica server Tomcat, under temp directory, we have something called Tomcat vars environment variables. So here, when we restart Informatica, the values will be fetched from the system environment variables. So these are, so obviously we need not update anything. We just need to, so after we install Informatica as in Python, we just need to make sure the corresponding Python path is updated properly, and then we just need to restart the Informatica service. So these variables we need not manipulate; they will get auto updated when we restart Informatica server. So that is what. So after that, so in order to run any Python file, so Python files are with extension .py. Python files are Python program files will be stored with extension .py. In order to run Python files, we use something called Python space file name. So let's suppose, let me create a sample file. So I'll try to create in C drive. Let me create something called test.tes.py. By default, Python will recognize it is a Python file. When I double click on that, I can open with ideally. So it is an editor, so which opens me the editor. So the thing is, Python is very user friendly. We need not define any variables, anything, as in define any variables, as in specify the data type. So that is why I prefer over Java. Java is kind of, we need to do a lot of things. But then one good thing, or as in some difficult part is it needs indentation. As in when we have for loop and stuff, it needs to be properly indented. Otherwise it will fail. I'll quickly show you those things. So in order to print something, yeah, we just need to say print and then hello. when we say that when I run this one, I need to save this. When I run this one, run module, it will print me the details. So if I want to do something like I equal to some 200 star 300 in Java or any other typical programming tool, I need to define something like, okay, I need to define int I equal to 200 star 300 and then printf, if it is C, printf percentile D for integer and then stuff. I can say, we can do the calculation directly and then we can print it. We can directly print it. So yeah, so we got the value printed. We can do whatever manipulations we want. We need not define any variable. I will show. So 200 plus 300 is 500. It will show us. Another aspect what I can show is we can show the type of it also. So though we are not defining type, don't think that it is not taking the type. It takes the type implicitly depending on the value. So when I say type of I is integer. I can give a value also, comma, in single quotes. I can use single quotes or double quotes. Value is probably value is comma plus I. Okay. Since it is a integer, I need to specify something like str of str. See, I am kind of trying to I use an operator called plus, which is nothing but a concatenation. One is a string and another is a integer, so it was throwing me error. I just need to concatenate. So value is 500. So the type of I is integer and the value is 500. So this makes me kind of adaptable to Python rather than over Java. We need to define a lot of things. And also we have got inbuilt modules like pandas. Pandas are very good for manipulation, data manipulation. So it is kind of data frames or record structure. We need to do limited code and then we can get proper output. So we will see. So we have this file. So probably let me try to tell you this also. In when I meant indentation, this is what. So when we are trying to do the if clause, if I equal to 500, I need to use a semicolon actually here. So the comparison is double equal to, it is not single equal to. Single equals is assignment operator, double equals is comparison. So after I click on enter, see it is already indented. So since it is an editor or IDE, it is able to indent it. So I can again say print, yeah, true. I wanted to show the value of it. Print true. Then I need to indent back to come to else. I can print false. Had I not do anything, like if I have not mentioned anything, since it is a 500, it is showing me true. Let's suppose if I give the value as something like 5,000, it will not match and then it will kind of show me false. So because it comes, it will check for the condition. If it matches, then it goes to the then clause. If it does not matches, it goes to the else clause. So now let's suppose if I don't give equals, semicolon, it will fail. Invalid syntax. If I gave an semicolon, if I give semicolon, but then I remove this and run, indent, expected indent. Indent can be a space also, but if I start using space, we need to use the same space everywhere. If I use double space should be used consistently. So previously when I do enter, it was giving me a tab actually. So this is a tab. But we can use double space also based on our requirement, but it should be properly indented. If I am using double space everywhere, it should be double space, sort of a thing. So it is all about our understanding, but then yeah, it accepts the indentation thing. If I don't indent, it will say syntax error. So it is completely revolves around this indentation. If it is under same level, we need not indent. If it is at a different level, that needs to be an indented. So this is what. Let me try to open the program what I have coded to read the this file. It is very simple. So JSON to data frame. Let me open that here. I am importing this package. This is not an inbuilt library. Inbuilt library. So what I need to do is, if I am need to install any library, so where we install Python, launch a command prompt and then use pip install pandas. This will install the library if it is not there. Since I have already installed, so it is saying already satisfied. Pip, the command is pip install pandas. Pandas is a very useful library we can use when we are handling this thing. So in pandas, we have a method to read JSON. I am just specifying the JSON file path. So if I give the file path, then basically what happens is, let me try to print the JSON, print data frame. See, in pandas, after reading those are called data frames. When I run this module, it read. So though my file is present in this format, it flattened the data again. So I can just, so we can just write it to a CSV. We have a function called toCSV, which is capable of writing it to a CSV file. And if we carefully observe, in case of Python, the comments are single quotes or triple quotes. Triple quotes are meant for comment. As in, I don't want to execute that line. We will use triple quotes or single quote. So here it is expecting triple quote again. That's what it is throwing. Okay, I did not actually print. I have just let me print df. So I will tell the reason why I'm printing also. If we see, okay, df print, okay, this got removed. Okay, it was already there, my bad. Print df. Okay, if we see, our data is only user ID. This is nothing but a sequence number, index for the record. So that's why index is not there for the header. It was there. Index means don't think it is a column name. Index is nothing but our this index number 0123 record number actually. So pandas has got various things. So I can retrieve the column names also. df.calls. If I say df.calls, it will give me the column names. 1 minute. So it is df.columns. When we try to run that, it will give me the details of the columns which are present in the data. And then, so if I am interested in only user ID, first name, phone number, and email address, I can restrict it also. So we can say something like df of, we can specify the details what we want. Let's suppose I want something called what was there here, what was there, df of user ID. So we can get the specific user ID information. I did not print actually. Let me try to print. F5 can be used. Yeah, it is printing. This is an index number, user ID. Yeah. If I want to print multiple things, I can just use comma in single quotes. I can use first name, comma, phone number, and then we need to give the appropriate same name. It recognizes with the column name. If the name gets changed, then it will fail again. It will return the index does not, as in the column does not. So let me try to run this. Okay. Key error, user ID, first name, last name, email address. Okay, I need to use another bracket. If I have a single column, one thing is sufficient. If I need multiple, I need to use double. So perfect. So we got rid of last name. So this is a typical use case is in one of my project wherein we used to get lot of columns, but then we want to retrieve only a few subset of columns. But again, we are getting index here. How to avoid that? Yeah, we can avoid. But before that, let me try to assign this to a df1. Df1 is a variable. We need not specify the type, but we have to declare the variables. So while writing it to so I can say while writing it to a CSV file, there is something called index equal to false. When I do this index equal to false, it will not write anything with respect to the index as in the sequence number. I have actually tried we are populating in the same directory in the infra shared itself, so we should be able to find sample.csv. Perfect. Yeah, we got user ID, first name, phone number, email address. Now I can tweak that. Let's suppose I am not interested in phone number. Yeah, I can do it. So we just need to remove that phone number from this list. So whatever we are interested in, we can. If we just need to run it. Yeah, let's see now. Orders.csv. Okay, my bad. This is not the one. It's actually a different one. It's sample.csv. Perfect. User ID, first name, email address. When we are writing, we are not taking care of removing the existing file. It is taking care automatically. I did not delete the file. It was overwriting the file. We have append options, all those things also. But then, yeah, this is how a typical use case. So with limited, had we need to process the same thing in Informatica, it will be a hectic thing. We need to know the index of it, index of a particular thing, then how much length it will go. Lot of the same thing, because Informatica does not have a proper JSON connector. The better thing is convert that into a XML CSV, and then try to read it. You can convert into XML file also, because we have got XML connectors. So how to invoke this? So okay, Python has got converting a JSON data to CSV file, but how that file, as in how to invoke that? So now that Python is installed in the directory, what we need to do is, we just need to create a command task. Let me try to create a new command task. And in this, we need to create a command. In this command, we just need to say Python space. We need to invoke the script. So JSON.data frame. Let me try to get the complete full path. So we can get the full file path to clipboard. So I got the path, full file path. I'll just paste it. Python space file name and then redirect. So what is the output of it? We can redirect to some log, actually test.log. as in whether the execution got succeeded or what are the errors, so that can be redirected. Now let me try to invoke this command once. So right now in the infashare directory, we have sample.json. It does not have anything on output. When I invoke this command task, let's see what happens. Start task. Perfect. Let us come here. Okay, this is not the location infashare. Yeah, there we go. We have got the JSON data. Okay, you can ask me, okay, why it is storing here? When I created that file, I'm saying write it to that directory. I can even say, okay, not in infashare directory, write it in some source directory. Let me try to change it to source directory. I can specify this path in my file. If you see, I am doing another thing also. This is an R. So by default, R means format string. If I don't use R, I need to use a double slash in order to recognize the appropriate path. I am using R. R is nothing but a formatted string. Formatted string which will eliminate the usage of double quotes in the paths. So now if I run the same command task, it will store that file in my directory, in the source file directory. So let's go and see in the source file directory. Date modified descending, yeah, 1243. We got it created. So this is how we can format the JSON data to CSV, and then CSV we know how to process it using Informatica. So that is how it needs to be done when we have a JSON data.